Good morning, everybody. Welcome to this week's meeting, Progressing Business Forum. The third week of Visitor September. The two visitors that we're due this week, as their chairs are empty. So far we've had one genuine and one owl, as far as the fact is that people will always commit themselves until they've got to actually get up in the morning, and now it's dark in the morning, it's even worse. So could I just ask you all who have prospective visitors, and I know there are several of you who have genuinely looked and found, to press them. Kick their respective butts and get them in here. Because once they're here, they'll love it. Right, enough of that. Today's meeting, as always, I'm in the chair and I get you through the agenda. The leadership team are also here and they help me do it. Could I ask them to be upstanding and introduce themselves, please?
Hello, I'm Vincent. I chair the membership committee and I'm also the official timekeeper.
Morning guys, Ben, Education Coordinator.
Good morning, Scott, your meeting secretary and bloke who does the live chat. Handsome face and live chat.
Or Neil, Eric, deal with recruitment and membership, or membership and recruitment, whichever you want.
Good morning, Brian, social secretary.
Thank you all. Please be seated. Right, so let's get on with the meeting. First thing up is the performance lead. Scott is here to enlighten us. Scott.
Rightio. Three runaway leaders, but three-way front at the top, so let me share those names. 80 points scored for Stuart in third place. Well done, Stu. 91 points, John Hammond, but he's not here today, so it's an easy overtake. And 100 points currently go to Jane. Is that lady at the top? Yes. Keep going. Don't forget to fill this stuff in. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Scott. Next up, the education presentation. Ben.
Thank you very much. Well, today's education is going to be brought to you by none other than our handsome face of live chat. So Scott, over to you.
Thank you. I thought I'd recycle a bit of an oldie because it was easier. I just pressed print. And but it's still nevertheless really relevant and useful. And it's called the EBF Power Hour. If you stopped everything in your day and decided to focus just for 1 hour on EBF, what would you do? How would you do it? And would you find yourself stretched for ideas and what to do? I thought I'd just help you. And if you just, not an hour every day, if you gave EBF 1 dedicated hour in a month, you could do these things. It would be really brilliant. So here we go. There's a number of different activities you could do immediately to give your tremendous impetus in developing your business for other members, whilst also giving your own business a major boost at the same time. Break the power hour down into 3 distinct, easily identifiable groups of activity. Number 1 is focus on generating referrals. So work on referrals for the previous 10-minute speaker, the guy from last week. Have a think about how you can help them out. Review each member's most wanted referral from the previous week. Just think back. I know some people make notes each week on what everybody says. All of us clock this, but also we've got the video to refer back to. Follow up on possible referrals and turn them into certainties. Review your own contacts lists to see what introductions you could make to fellow members. And then look at your diary of upcoming customer-client meetings. See what opportunities there could be to perhaps introduce other members to those people that you're meeting perhaps for the first time. So that's generating referrals. Focusing on inviting visitors is part 2. So why not follow up with previously invited visitors to see what they thought of when they came to one of our meetings. Review the list of trade or professional categories that we have on our members page that we want to fill. See if any of your new customers or contacts, or even your old customers or contacts, could fill that gap. Give them a ring. Make invitation phone calls, send invitation emails, however you do it, send them a letter, whatever, but do something. And make reminder follow-up calls to your visitors the day before or 2 days before they're due to turn up here on a Thursday, because like Aidan said, they just need to remind to set their alarms and so on. Third phase, final phase, focus on your one-to-ones. Plan, diarise and prepare your one-to-one meetings with other members. Follow up on the actions that you figured out from previous one-to-ones with other members. And make a list for yourself of the top 5 members in the group who you'd like to do a new one-to-one with, people you haven't met with yet, or people where you just need to refresh and update or re-strengthen those relationships. None of the benefits of EBS membership are guaranteed. Just as success in life is never a matter of luck. It's always the result of working and developing a carefully honed and fine-tuned system of success. Applying and incorporating the EBF Power Hour into your schedule will make a long way towards receiving the best return on your membership.
Thanks, Scott. Sort of summed up by the harder I seem to get.
Yeah.
Terry, membership matters, please.
We've got one membership matter that we're just about to start. Vince doesn't know about it yet, but we are, and I'll report back to you next week.
Right. Let me address you from a standing position because I'm going to do lots of activities. First of all, let's get that round. We'll get all your referrals in there, please, for today. Let me send round the business card box. You know the school, make sure that you are adequately represented. Take cards for people that you need to help make referrals. Right. Whilst that goes round, we approach the 60-second round. 60 seconds this week will mean 60 seconds because we are 23 in number. A lot better turnout. Well done, people. So, as the business card box goes round, we'll start off now. The Oscar was won by Hannah. So she'll be listening out carefully, and indeed she'll go first. So let's get the meeting underway with Hannah doing her 60 seconds. Let's ring the bell. Yeah, if you like. Yeah. That's what you'll hear after 60 seconds. And that's what you'll hear after 60 seconds. And when you hear that, you wind up and sit down. And thanks for reminding me. And I'd hate to see you idle. Right. Hannah first, followed by Kira.
I'm Shay from HFO Media. I help businesses grow through social media platforms. This week I thought I'd talk about TikTok. Now, the main question I get from clients is, how do I get business from TikTok? I want to be on there because it's a popular platform, but how do I get business? And what I always say is, TikTok is like a book. You want to give them the title and the summary, show that you're an expert in the field, they'll want to use your service, hopefully, and then that's when you give them the book at a fee. For example, a hairdresser shows tips and tricks, and even though my hair now doesn't look great because it's dropped, I cover my hair with socks. But that is a unique tip and showing the different ways of styling. So if you want to show in different ways and unique, but obviously put in the focus of your business, that can be done. If you don't know how to start off with it, even though I can't help you with any hair tips, I can help with social media. So please get in touch. Thank you.
Thanks, Hannah. Kieran, you're next. You're followed by Emma.
Good morning everyone, Kieran Peaty from Studio 40, the architect for the group, and we specialise in residential extensions and new builds. And we generally cover a wide geographical area. Yesterday I drove over to Hersham, over on the west side of London. So this week, ideally I am looking for more local referrals if we have them. As good as it is to spread our wings and to get out and about, it is preferable local and to deal with the local authorities that we have good working relationships with. So if you have any referrals for residential extensions and new builds specifically, then please pass on my details again. That's Kieran Peaty from Studio 40.
Thank you, Kieran. Emma, you're followed by Tina.
Good morning. So we are going into winter now, so I thought I'd do a quick 10 ways to get your home ready for winter. So one of the biggest things is roof insulation. It will keep the heat in your home and bring down your energy bills, which we all need at the moment. Get a carbon monoxide alarm. This can help with leaks. It's going to happen a lot more in the winter because you're using more appliances and there's less windows open for the air to circulate. Installate water pipes. First, water pipe can be costly. It's fairly inexpensive to prevent and pay attention to hot water pipes in the loft. Rack up your water tank, another effective way to cut out heat loss. It can save you £18 per year and it's only £20, so there is going to be a saving over some time. Smart meters, it's an easy way to keep track of your usage and work out which devices are guzzling your electricity. Blockages can cause damp and mold, which is not healthy for your walls. Lead radiators, they can help keep your home warm and check if your check the boiler and use heavier curtains. That was all I had. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Emma. Just because it's green doesn't mean it's time. Thank you. Tina, you're next, and you're followed by Terry.
Good morning everybody, my name's Tina and I'm coming to called Liberty Executive Services. You may come across companies or sole traders that they say they can't afford a VA, or if they're a start-up, or the companies that need an extra pair of hands, but they still say they can't afford a VA. That's where Liberty Executive Services can be a game changer for almost any business. After all, there is the truth in the saying, time is money. If you spend more time supporting your business instead of building it, you are not maximising your efforts. So if you know anybody that's in that situation, please pass on my details because I'll be happy to help. So that's me, Tina, Liberty Executive Services. I'm not a 9 to 5, I'm stopped. I think it's
Thank you, Tina. Terry, you're next, and you're followed by Jen.
Thank you very much. Good morning, everybody. Terry Maiden from CM Law. Had Sign of the Times recently had quite a lot of clients come in who have been owed money and they've been reluctant to claim it, reluctant to push people to get the money back until recently, and now I think they're kind of starting to smell the coffee a bit and they're starting to instruct me. So if you know anyone that's in that position, they're owed money, been reluctant to do it, the longer they leave the money, the harder it's going to be to get back. That's just a fact of life, unfortunately. So if you know anyone that's in that position, give them my details, I'd be happy to have a chat with them, tell them what it will cost and then get on and get their money back. That's what I do. Terry Maiden, CM Law.
Thank you, Terry. James is followed by Storby.
Morning all, James from RMK Insurance. As you can see, fresh trim, but no socks were harmed in the process. Off the cuff. Ipswich Town socks, by the way, actually. While I was in there, the owner walked in and started having a chat. So who does your insurance? He went, I don't know. I went, do you know your renewal date? He went, I don't know. So then I looked, and it was about 3 months ago. So I had my hair cut at 1 o'clock, by 5 o'clock he had insurance. So most of you have got a hairdresser, barber. I'm getting ready to
French polish.
and I seem to have a bit of run on at the moment, so we are doing very well, we are saving the money, and if you save the money, you might have to tip them for the next couple of months. I've mentioned it before as well, restaurants, takeaways, bars, pubs. Again, another thing that's very popular at the moment, we're getting a lot of inquiries through, and we are saving quite a bit of money because of the extra markets we've got. So if you want to keep one person happy in this country, other than your wife, it's your local landlord. So James, our intentions.
But if you can sell insurance to your wife, do it. Yeah, yeah, fine. Thanks.
No, exactly.
Thank you, James. Toby, you're next, followed by Mike, somebody or other. Yes. I'll let you know when Toby's been.
Morning everybody, so the Artemis moon rocket has been delayed again. I think it's now due to take off on the 19th of September. Now, you probably all know I'm no rocket scientist, but I'm led to believe that a rocket on the way to the moon or anywhere is off course 90% or more of the time. And the systems constantly monitor it and they constantly keep it on track. Not major corrections, just 1 or 2 degree corrections to make sure it stays on track towards its target. And it's the same for our businesses. Our businesses are normally off track most of the time, but we need to be constantly monitoring them. We need to be making those small course corrections, not big corrections, just 1 or degree changes of direction to make sure that we're on track. Because if you don't make those 1 or 2 degree corrections now, further down the line you're going to be way off course. So are you monitoring your businesses? Are you making those course corrections to keep them on track? If you know anybody that maybe needs some help with that, please do put me in touch. So the Acton Sales Masters, you're helping business owners keep on track with their business.
Thanks, Toby. Mike Rogers is next. He's followed by Mike Skinner.
Morning everybody, my name's Mike Rogers, I'm a mortgage broker from the Mortgage Store. I arrange mortgages. That's all you need to know about that bit. But I've got something very interesting to tell you this morning. Historically, when you're coming towards the end of your deal, lenders will allow you to set the next rate 3 months in advance, so you don't get affected by increases in the next 3 months before it's due to start. Because of interest rates are so volatile, and more to the point, because most lenders' service standards are shit at the moment, a lot of them have extended that 3 months, and the majority of them will now do it 4 months, and some of them will even allow you to set your next rate 6 months before your current rate ends, which is brilliant, because if interest rates carry on going up, you won't pay it, and you can set your rate now. So, talk to me, because I'm brilliant.
Thank you, Scott. Thank you very much, Mike. You might like to know that I'm looking at it. It says Mike Rogers, and then underneath space for third Mike, and then underneath Mike Anonymous, so I completely buggered up my calculation. Yeah. Mike Skinner, followed by
Good morning everyone, I'm Mike, founder of Blackwater Media, creating digital content for businesses and events. So I've got an interesting one coming up in the near future, which is recording a video for a wakeboarder, and he wants to use it for sponsorships, send out to competitions, that sort of thing, to just get his name out there. The interesting part being, he's in the middle of a lake going around, so the choices are film it from the shore with a long lens, get a drone out there, or get in a boat with a load of electrical equipment, which is all, a bit interesting. Most sports are generally a bit easier to film because they're on dry land. So I'm on the lookout for any sports clubs, athletes, trainers that are looking to make promotional content, whether it's video or photography, whether it's to promote themselves or their business, or just put together things like a training and tips series for YouTube or something like that. If you know anyone doing that sort of thing, please pass my details on. It's Mike at Blackwater Media.
Thank you, Mike. Ben, you're followed by Vincent.
Good morning guys, Ben Golding, Utility Warehouse. Now, last week we heard the announcement that's happening with the price cap, and although it is going up 27%, not as much as what we first thought. However, the cost of living is still going to make an impact on people's lives, and luckily UW have been named the cheapest supplier still available. However, people are still struggling. So we offer the chance for people to earn that extra income by helping other people to save. And now with our new positions in the company, people starting in the business can earn in excess of £3,000 in their first 45 days. Plus, with our new incentive promotion, all of their Christmas food can be free. So this week I'm looking for people you know that not only want to save hundreds, but have the opportunity to earn thousands by helping their friends and family to save money with the UK's most trusted utility provider. Ben Golding, Utility Warehouse.
Thank you, Ben. Utility Warehouse, not a turkey.
Yes.
Yes. Right, Vincent, you're followed by Hank.
Morning everyone, Vincent from Speakering. While I personally, I'm sure most of you have been very overwhelmed by what happened last week, I actually did benefit from it. The very next day, the Friday, I got calls from the 3 major barristers' chambers that I deal with. And of course, they've all had to change their names from QC, Queen's Counsel, to KC, King's Counsel, after their name, which is probably a historic occasion in itself. It's probably never happened in living memory, because 70 years ago, I can't imagine too many barristers had business cards anyway. So most of the barristers' chambers are in Lincoln's Inn, Gray's Inn and Temple Bar. So if you know of any barristers' chambers, CEOs of barristers' chambers, senior clerks, heads of business development, or even barristers themselves, that would be a fantastic referral. So you think it, we ink it.
Thank you very much. Nick Cook is followed by Brian Painter. Nick.
Good morning, my name's Nick, I'm a structural engineer. If If you're intending to carry out any structural alterations to your house, be it taking a wall down, a loft conversion, extension, you need a structural engineer to prepare the design. There are 5 key questions, loads of questions to ask, but I'll boil them down to 5 key questions that you should ask before you appoint anyone. The first one being, do you have any experience in this particular type of work? Do you have professional indemnity insurance? Will building regulations approval be required? Does the Part of Wall Act apply to any part of the project? How do the CDM regulations impact on this project? Of course, there are lots of other questions. So if you know anyone who's intending to carry out any work at all, please give them my card, get them to call me, just for a chat, just to ask them any questions, that'd be great. My name's Nick, I'm a structural engineer, the business is called Nick Coleman and Associates.
Thanks, Nick. Brian Pater, followed by Paul Delude.
Thank you. Good morning, everybody. I've got a little story to tell you today, and it's actually quite common with a number of hypnotherapists. About a month ago, a lady said she needed to stop smoking. She's in her 60s. I had a medical reason to stop, so I've been trying for the past 7 or 8 years. I've used patches, sprays, gum, I've used a lot. Nothing has happened, so I thought I'd give you a try. So she had her 2 sessions, off she went, and she phoned about a week. After 10 days later, so I want to let you know your method does not work. I said, well, I'm sorry, but you've got a written guarantee, please come back. I said, no, I don't need to come back. I said, why? She said, because I'm not smoking. But she said, look, I want to let you know your method does not work. I just tried extra hard. So, invariably, people cannot believe that hypnosis can work so quickly on problems. Vincent, I'm not quite sure if I heard. Why do these barristers want to call themselves Katie now?
King's Counsel.
Right. Thank you, Brian. Paul, followed by Stuart.
Good morning, everyone. Paul Delude, Redvine Limited Communications Agency. Over the last week or so, on 3 occasions, visited companies' websites, gave them a call, and found out businesses were no longer in operation. One was a restaurant, one was a bouncy castle wire company, and the other was a children's magician. And the issue with the internet is people create websites, and yet, even if the business goes out, or even if the business stops trading, quite often the websites stay there. So the challenge for businesses that are still in operation is how do you make sure that people know you're still working? One of the easiest ways is just to have regular content added, like a blog, because it not only illustrates to people that this business is operating and still live, but it also allows you to update people on where the business is at and on current events. So, you know, if you've got a business website, which you should have, make sure you add content regularly so people know that you're open for business. Thank you, Paul Delude, Redvine, Communication Agency.
Thank you, Paul. Stuart, you're followed by Jane.
Morning, everybody. Stuart from LG Networks. We supply telephone systems, internet services, and business mobiles. We specialise in trying to keep things really simple, taking the jargon out of the technical stuff and trying to make our services tailored exactly to what our customers need. We also really focus on service. Okay, we provide a single point of contact for anything that our customers require, whether that's a billing query or a technical issue or a sales inquiry. We have a single point of contact coming through to our office. No call centres, straightforward, answered by real human people all the time. What we're particularly looking for is people are looking for business mobile connections. Okay, mobile telephones, have the new iPhones come out, new range of Samsungs come out recently. Looking for businesses that are looking to do combined business mobile communication. So generally sort of 5 users and above is really what we would consider a business account. So if you know anybody who's looking to update their company mobiles, or maybe you want to put all your friends and family together into one tariff, please put in touch with me. It's Stuart at LG Networks. Thank you.
Thank you, Stuart. Jane, you're followed by Leanne.
Hello everybody, Auntie Jane here this week from the English Cream Tea Company. I want to talk to you about the power of the trade. This has been a very discombobulating week for many people, and it's come on top of COVID and inflation and the war in Ukraine, and it really does affect people's stability in life. And I received all this information through TikTok. Hundreds of people are wobbling and need to be reassured. And if you brought out a small tray or a big tray with your cups or your mugs on, even some biscuits or some warm toast, when somebody comes round, you are saying to them, I'm making time for you. I'm not just, here you go, and we're on the rush. We're not standing at the kitchen like this. We are going to sit down, your ears are open, and you're going to be in rapport with this person. It's so reassuring. So can I recommend having a tray when people come around, because it gives off a signal more than just a carrying device. Auntie Jane, sending hugs to all of you in case you're discombobulated too.
Very good. And if you're discombobulated, make sure you don't carry the tray if you're wobbling. Probably the answer. Thank you. Leanne, you're next, and you're followed by Scott.
Morning, everybody. I'm Leanne, Brooklyn Interiors, so I'm an interior designer, and I help people create cover rooms in their rooms. So I offer bespoke design concepts to each client for a service to suit all budgets. I help them choosing the right colours, the right furniture, and working with the trades to get the job done to a high specification. The spaces I design are unique as the client, and they function for them and their lifestyles. Sometimes you just need a new pair of eyes to see the room differently and suggest things that you may not have thought about. So there are 3 answers to design: no, yes, and wow. And I aim for the wow. Thank you.
Thank you, Leanne. Scott, you're followed by Matt.
Morning, all. Dr. Scott, making websites work. And I thought I'd talk to you about the part of the marketing journey that we're all on, but the bit that nobody very rarely treads, and it's the last few paces in your marketing journey. So, social media campaigns, writing blogs, do whatever the activity is that you're spending money on, creating video. Great, drive content to your website, brilliant, lovely, but it doesn't end there. There needs to be an actual point to it, a conversion target, a call to action. So when you get someone to your site, when they've read the blog, at the bottom there needs to be a click here to do this, and the do this might be book an appointment, it might be give me a ring, it might be download this white paper to prove how good we are and stuff. But you need to think about that last building block. What is the actual point of your marketing activity? And build that right the way into the campaign so you can test, measure, and make it work, which is what we're really good at. So if you want to know more, give me a shout.
Thank you, Scott. Mike Hickson is followed by Howard Stewart.
Mike Hickson, Melisay Systems, selling like Dixon. I've got 3 based in Billericay, my company provides IT services to small and medium-sized businesses throughout Essex and the home counties. So, a question: how important is IT to your business? What would happen if you had no access to email, business documents, or even your accounts package for an hour, a day, or a week? Everyone should ensure they have the necessary support in place relevant to the answer to that question. Many companies, including LSA, offer remote services such as Log Me In for providing support. But those services are of little use if you have serious software issues or you've lost your internet connection. So it's important to remember don't ever underestimate the usefulness of engaging a company that is local. Who can come and resolve any problems in person or is owned by a friendly guy who's got everything to assist in an emergency. So that's Mike Hickson from LSA Systems.
Thank you, Mike. Howard.
Good morning.
Morning.
Howard Phillips from Clear Financial Advice, we're independent financial advisors. I've got a client who phoned in, and you phoned in a few days ago, wants quite a lot of life cover. A couple of £1 million. And when I told him the cost of that, it was quite eye-watering, and he didn't like the sound of that. Until I told him that because he has his own limited company, which is a director, he can run that life insurance through the limited company. So the company pays it, it's a business expense. We also go into trust, so if he dies, he gets paid out immediately. And that reduction in cost by having it as a business expense reduces the effective cost by about half. So he's quite pleased with that. He's going to put that in place, and it's costing less than he thought it might do. So because of that, we're also going to put in place some critical illness cover, which he needs. So if you know people who want some life cover, and they'll put off by the potential cost of it. They can get them to speak to someone like me because it might not be as bad as they think. Thank you.
Thanks, Howard. Howard will be followed by me, who will be followed by Paul, Aidan Squire from TM Law. I want to talk about contracts of employment today. Certain information regarding contracts has got to be in writing. Basic things like salary, notice periods, job descriptions, and holidays. The Working Time Directive requires employers to provide at least 28 days holiday each year, but that is the minimum, and it can include statutory and bank holidays, but it doesn't have to. So, with Monday's bank holiday coming up, employers don't have to give the time off if they don't want to, and with the coronation coming up, they don't have to give that off either, necessarily. It's not a gimme. So, unless a contract were to give 20 days plus all statutory bank holidays, it's a matter of decision for the employer. So that's Aidan Squire who can advise in relation to that. That's me, and next is Paul.
Morning, Paul. We're Chartered Certified Accountants based in Brentford. This week we formed 2 new limited companies, one for existing client, one for a new client. Both were very straightforward, sole director and shareholders. We charge £90 plus that for those companies. Then we provide advice on best bank accounts, best bookkeeping software that's relevant to their business. We do a lot more complex company formations as well, often with multiple out there shares to give different shareholders different amount of dividends if they want to. Lots of directors and occasionally company secretaries. So today I'm looking for anyone who can form a limited company. That's all we're for building though. That's what we're doing.
Thank you, Paul. That is the end of the 60-second presentation, unless I've missed somebody out, but I don't think I have. Therefore, I'll hand you over to Hannah, the award of the Oscar. Hannah.
Yeah, really great 6 seconds. I'm still learning on like how to best do them. So I don't. This is going to be quite hard to sort of do it, but I mean it's very good, sort of like making more awareness of the different times and how to do it. Finn's very great on obviously what you're doing with the different printing and everything. It's been very hard obviously this week with all the different changes that are happening. But I think in terms of what's happening with everything that's going up and winter and everything, I'm going to give it to Emma for saying the 10 tips that we can all do in our own life.
Thank you very much, Hannah. It pays to be green. Well done. Right. We move on. The meeting secretary's report is next. Scott.
Okie dokie. Well, 15 of these little things today. 15, 16, 17. Right, chuck them all around this way, but good numbers, positive. Do remember to fill all these out, but more importantly, do remember to also do the bit that counts, which is putting these on the V forms. And on the topic of V forms, I'm sure you've all been waiting for it, but Leanne is now on the forms. So all those referrals, one-to-ones, stuff that you've got ready to clock in the system that you have had or are going to do, Leanne, you can now log in and make it all happen. So catch up on that. That's all I've got to say. Thank you.
Thanks, Scott. 17 referrals and lots more activity records.
Lovely.
Right. Synergy team report next. Paul.
Yeah, we had the senior team meeting on Tuesday. We will speak to the stroke one questions. Smaller attendance, what we call it, etc. But there were still 4 of us. Had a very good meeting, and next month, the same as always, second Tuesday of each month, Bachelors and Dragon Nuts.
Yeah, sorry. Thanks, Paul. Everything's going fine up there. Wonderful. Right, we move now inexorably towards the 10-minute presentation.
Got more coming.
Yeah.
Right, before I introduce today's speaker, just to give you an update on the upcoming speakers for the next few weeks. So, next week on the 22nd, I'll be doing the 10 minutes and Paul will be doing the education slot that day. On to the 29th of September, Tina will be doing the 10 minutes, which I'm really love there. So, and I'll be doing the ed slot that day. Into October, Vince for the 6th of October will be giving the 10 minutes. And Paul DeLu will be doing the education slot that day. And finally, on the 13th of October, Mel will be giving us her 10 minutes, and Jane will have you down to the. Is that who said you could do the 13th, and not the week before?
I think I might still be in Canada.
Okay, if not, then it'll be me. When it is your turn to do the 10 minutes, please go to the EVF website, download the bio sheet, get it to me a day or two beforehand. You can do it, Fab. If you can't do it, then please obviously do let me know as soon as possible. And like Jane, we'll do our best to swap things around to make sure we get you back in. That said, today's speaker did go to the website and sent me their bio sheet, because today we have Howard Bullock from Clear Finance Advice, of which he's the owner and the director. And the nature of his business is independent financial advisors. And his location is the third rock from the sun. So, how does Howard relax? Now, I do like this one. Laughing at the misfortune of others. Now, we all like that, always looks as good. Now, a famous person that Howard nearly met, was the Queen. Howard's favourite saying is, age is not important unless you're cheese. And finally, something we should all avoid is inheritance tax. So, with that in mind, would you please welcome Mr. Howard Bullock.
Thank you. I was listening to LBC on Monday, and there was a phone in about inheritance tax, the fact that King Charles isn't going to pay any inheritance tax on inheriting the Queen's personal estate. There was quite a discussion. Most of it was quite negative about, well, it's not fair, it's one rule for one and another rule for everyone else. So I looked into it as to why this has happened and looked a bit further. But before that, just a little bit about me for the new blood in the room. I've been in IFA for just over 20 years. Before that, I was a trader at Financial Futures Exchange. I started Clear in 2006 with another guy called Scott Rockwater a few years later. So the firm sits now with myself and another IFA, Paul, who's really good. We've got 3 admin staff, Caroline, Kaylee and Mandy, who's just joined us. And we look after about £70 million in assets. So we're quite a nice boutique firm, but we are quite small in the grand scheme of things, so our clients are really, really important to us. Most of the work we do centres on the investment and retirement planning, so pensions and other forms of investments. But we do a healthy amount of life insurance, and we dabble in, and we do quite a bit of inheritance tax planning as well, which is what we're going to talk about. Inheritance tax is a voluntary tax, or sometimes referred to as a voluntary tax. Things like income tax and VAT and capital gains tax, you can't do a great deal about that. If you earn money, you pretty much got to pay tax on it. Or if you make a profit, you're not going to pay tax on it. But inheritance tax, there's an awful lot you can do to mitigate that, so we'll touch on that. But before I get into that further, I thought we'd have a bit of fun and put a couple of questions to you, which you've got in front of you. So number one, which of the following would not save inheritance tax? Leave your SIP, which is a type of personal pension, to your children. Or number 2, sign your home over to your children. Or number 3, place your investments into trust. Who reckons it's number 1? Okay, hands up for number 2. And hands up for number 3. It's number 2. Signing your home over does not save inheritance tax. That's called a gift of reservation. You haven't really given it away, you just signed a piece of paper, you're still living there and get the full benefit of it. If you want to give something away for inheritance tax purpose, you need to properly give it away and not be able to use it anymore. Second question, what is the current rate of inheritance tax? 20%, 28% or 40%? Hands up for number 2. Hands up for number 1? Yes, number 3, 40%. Well done. Just a quick note on pensions, which pensions are a great tool for inheritance tax planning. They fall outside of your estate, which is marvellous. But apart from that, they are the most tax efficient way of saving. All the money goes in tax free, and normally you get 25% of it tax free coming out. There's nothing else that does that for you. And if you're thinking about retirement planning, I know we're supposed to talk about IHT, but just quickly on retirement planning. The quicker you start, the better. So a 20-year-old putting £100 a month into a pension, when they retire at age 68, which would be the state pension age for a 20-year-old today, they have about £328,000 in their pension pot. If that guy waited just 5 years and then started paying £100 into a month, even though they've only paid about £6,000 less into the pension, when they get to age 68, they'd have £100,000 less in their pension pot. So the earlier the better. So if you haven't got a pension, or no one has got a pension, just start doing something as quickly as possible. Or if you're particularly do it for your kids, that's great. Just start doing that. So back to inheritance tax. So I've mentioned 2 already. Pensions are outside of the estate. You can put investments into trust, which will fall outside of your estate for inheritance tax. There are other things you can do as well. We all have gift allowances. So for example, every year you can give away £3,000. Which will fall outside of your estate. There are other allowances as well if your children get married or grandchildren get married. There are other allowances that you can make use of. You can give away larger sums. You can give away what you like. But anything above these allowances, you might have heard of a 7-year rule. So it will take 7 years for that asset to fully fall outside of your estate. So if you're relatively healthy, that's fine. But just be aware of people who are doing it who are perhaps have an illness or are older in later years. Just bear that in mind. One allowance that's often overlooked is gifts out of normal expenditure. So if let's say you're retired and you're earning, and your retirement income is say £3,000 a month, and you only give away £500 a month, you can do that, and that doesn't form part of your estate when you pass away. So gifts out of normal expenditure is often overlooked and can be quite useful. These next 2 areas are why I can help clients, apart from pensions and trusts. Investments into the alternative investment market, AIM shares. They fall outside of your estate after you've owned them for 2 years. Another useful tool is BPR, business property relief. If you own a company and you've owned it for more than 2 years and you pass away, that falls outside of your estate. Or you can put investments in place that will make use of these BPR rules. So you can have a portfolio of investments managed by a portfolio manager, same as a unit trust, and if you've owned that for 2 years, that will fall outside your estate. BPR investments and AIM shares are relatively high risk, so you need to be aware of that and be comfortable with it. And I would recommend it for someone who was very, very cautious and careful to make sure it takes a certain type of clients for that type of investment to be suitable. And another way, which people forget about, is life assurance. You can take out life assurance and put it in trust, so that if you die, that money that's paid out isn't formed part of your estate. It goes straight to the beneficiaries, and that money is used to pay the bill. So it doesn't get rid of your IHT bill, it just means that someone else pays it for you. And if I were to crunch the numbers and add up the likely cost of that life assurance up to a pretty decent ripe old age, it's likely to be a lot less than the eventual inheritance tax bill. And if you don't want to pay it, get your kids to pay it. Everyone's going to benefit from it. But back to this issue of Charles the Monarch and inheritance tax. Lots of angry people were phoning up on Monday about this. And I can understand why. This one rule for one and another rule for everyone else. It was a deal struck in 1993 between the Monarch and John Major, who was the Prime Minister at the time. And the rationale behind it is if you were to get a quick succession of monarchs dying in a fairly rapid period of time, that's going to erode their personal wealth quite severely in a short space of time. And it's there to protect the monarch's independence, so they don't need to go cap in hand to the government or to the Treasury. And the monarch doesn't have the same freedom as we do to go out and create their own wealth. So Paul as we know, is not a celebrity. I barely know who he is and I consider him a close personal friend. But if he were, he could go out there and exploit his name and write a book and endorse shampoo and try and get on 8 out of 10 Pastel's countdown. So he's got that freedom to do what he wants, to go and make money and increase his wealth. The monarch doesn't have that same freedom. The monarch opens supermarkets and opens parliament to make speeches. So that's the rationale behind it. But I can get why people feel disgruntled about that and think that should be changed. And think that the monarch should be on the same playing field as all the rest of us. But one thing that wasn't discussed, which I thought about, was let's say we did that. Let's say we did tax the monarch as we tax everyone else. Well, then surely it's got to be level playing field across the board. Well, now you're in danger of commercialising the monarch. So the monarch calls Monarch Limited and starts selling monarch butter or Charles cheddar cheese. And do we really want that to happen? Do we really want the monarch doing stuff like that? Because his focus, now he's got a conflict of interest, he doesn't want to be doing the things we know the monarch should be doing or want the monarch to do. Now he's seeking his own interests and trying to make money. And I'm not sure we want that. I don't know. Anyway, that's it. I tried not to get too political, I was just trying to lay out a balanced argument on it. Any questions?
You mentioned taking relief, 7 years.
Yes.
There was talk a few years ago of getting rid of taking relief. Is that still in the offing?
There's talk about all kinds of stuff every year about all the manners of aspects of inheritance tax, take relief, the angry IHT allowance, which is 325,000, the additional one. There's all these things to talk about every year. There's loads of rumours going around, IHT, pensions, all the other things involved in. But if it happens, it will happen when it happens. And there's no point in trying to speculate, because you're probably going to get it wrong and you get it right. Right.
If a friend of mine made substantial cash payments on his family and he popped his clogs within the 7 years, would the beneficiary have to contact the Inland Revenue and say, I've already had this for 5 years?
It's not the responsibility. It's not the responsibility of the beneficiary. It's the responsibility of the executors of the estate. So the executors will make inquiries to members of the family and everyone who might be involved to find out how many gifts have been taking place, and they're obliged to report that. Yeah. Terry.
Yeah, Harold, with life insurance, you said it's best to put it in trust so that it passes outside the estate. If you've got life insurance that's not in trust, can that be changed? How does that work? Have you got to take it?
No, it can be done subsequently. Yeah, but it's easy to do it. It's easy to do it when you first take out the policy. And if it's done subsequently, you want to go back to the life insurance provider, and they should have an off-the-peg trust that you can use for that. Sure.
Take a simple scenario. Say, for instance, a single surviving parent has a single surviving child, and that parent is living in a massive, great big £5 million house or whatever, and then the child goes, of course, I'm not sure the old man has ever done any inheritance tax planning, and he's just about to go into a care home or whatever. The point is, how long do you need? I mean, obviously we want to do this when parents are fit and healthy and they've got all their marks and everything, but how short is that time? As they're running into the hospice, should we go to sign this bit of paper, or how much time do we need to get these?
There's no rule of a time frame, but if you're doing it as the person goes, as the gentleman goes into a hospice, then yeah, that's not going to work. It needs to be a decent amount of time when the individual is healthy and well. There's no rule, and quite often these things would get contested in court. But yeah, do it in good time. Another thing to be aware of is if there's a power of attorney in place, and that's in place and being enacted upon, and now you've got someone else looking after your affairs because you're unable to do so yourself. Those attorneys can't do any inheritance tax planning, or very limited. There's one or two things they might be able to do, but most inheritance tax planning is off the table because those resources have to be used for the benefit of the individual who's now impaired. They can't be used to benefit the beneficiaries. There was sorry.
A bit about signing your home over to your children and you having nothing to do with the home. You could rent it back from the kids.
Yes, yeah, you could. Yeah, but you've got to do it really above board. So no discounts on the rent or anything. It's got to be all commercial rates, and as if you're renting it from a complete stranger.
But your kids could give that money back to you in some form.
No.
Could they? No. Very generous.
But then you haven't been paid rent, have you?
You pay the rent.
You certainly don't tell me about it.
There's got to be a way of getting a bit of money back from them.
I think the word you're looking for is fraud.
So the starting early with pensions, is there a minimum age or a minimum amount that we can start a pension for both our kids?
There's no minimum age, so you have a baby today and start a pension tomorrow. Most products, most decent products have a minimum of 100 to 200 pounds. There are some called stakeholder products that are as low as £20 a month. And those ones are perfectly fine in the first instance when you've got a kid. The reason I say they're perfectly fine in the first instance is normally you're quite limited on the choice of funds you have available on those products.
But you can move that on as they progress into 18 and transfer it.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah, Mike?
I was just following on from that. Can you explain a bit more for the simpletons how that difference of £6,000 you're putting in ends up being £100,000 difference in the last?
Well, I think we're talking about 25-year-olds.
Yeah.
So that £100 a month going in is going to let it grow for 40 odd years.
Okay. So
That's why
it's the investment sort of. Right.
Yeah. That's why I didn't use 40 to 45 months. Anyone else? Yeah.
I mentioned it falling on the executor's responsibility to check out what payments. Obviously, Nick's a prime target now. We need to look into his finances as well. I sell insurance, so I'm as honest as the day is long. The executors can be, just a normal person. Is it how hard do they have to look, and who checks to see how hard they'll look?
Well, we're probably straying into Aidan's area here because he helps people with probate. But I think you've got to be pretty thorough in what you're doing, well, you might get away with it, but you might not. And if you don't get away with it, it's someone's got to pay the tax.
I mean, when we're acting, if you're doing it yourself, then you can ask yourself the question and you can take the risk. But the reality of it is, when we're advising executors, they'll get a questionnaire which sets out in detail what they know about what's been happening. And it's a bit like disclosing jewellery in the house, it might be worth an awful lot. But the reality of it is that as an executor, you do owe a duty to get it right, and therefore the consequences of getting it wrong and being caught out are substantial. As I say, fraud was mentioned, and that's certainly the case. But you're just asked the question you would ask the questions by your lawyers and ask you to clarify what gifts you knew had been made and things like that.
So in theory, would they expect you, say someone's got 3 different bank accounts, would they expect you to go through 7 years worth of monthly statements to check to see if there have been any significant payments during that period?
Well, either you should do it, or if you don't know, then the lawyer might want to check from the information that they've got. So you've got to be very careful.
Oh, just a quick one. So several years ago, I was an executor for my aunt's estate, and she left a substantial amount of her estate to charity, and that precluded her from having to pay inheritance tax. Is that still the case, that if you leave enough to charity, your estate becomes...
So
my aunt left, I think it was a third of her estate to charity.
Yeah.
Which meant that there was no inheritance tax payable on the estate. Is that still the case?
Yeah. So as far as we're gifts to charities or bequeathments to charities are still IHT free. Yeah. Anyone else?
Sorry. Last one, please.
Would you say that putting money into ISAs is massively overrated compared to putting into, say, VCT or EIS?
It's just different. The different rules apply. So if you think it's overrated, then maybe it's not the right thing for you. It's
interest-bearing ISAs.
Oh, interest-bearing ISAs. Well, I mean, interest rates are on the floor. They've gone up a bit, but they're still pretty low. They're much lower than inflation. So money's into a cash ISA, so you're going to lose, 7-8% over the next 12 months. Let's put money into something that's fluctuating in value. It's going to fluctuate in value. but over the medium long term, hopefully you'll outstrip inflation, actually make a profit. So
it's going to be 30% down cost for the start.
yeah. It's just different.
This is the sort of chat we have in this corner.
Yeah.
You're not the naughty corner at all, are you? Hard-hitting corner.
Thank you.
Right, thank you very much. Howard, thank you very, very much indeed. Good presentation. I'm currently getting advice from Howard, and yes, thoroughly recommended. I do recommend people, and thanks for that, Howard. Very good. Could you do the running for us, please, as we approach the referrals round? Now, let's start with the naughty corner. Now they've stopped talking about inheritance tax matters between themselves. Let's start with Paul and work round.
Yeah, so as always, Howard looks after my investments for many years, very happy, and also so excellent. Yeah, well done on the shop, thank you, and a referral from Melissa. She's not here, but I'll email her. What's it said?
For an agent who stops my clients sell a business. That's it.
Now you know.
Well, Scott, your ex-lot was absolutely fantastic. Well done, Howard. And really actually enjoy listening to the questions as well, actually, because we good answers to really good questions. Next time we do a Q&A, we'll just sit here up there.
Yes. Yeah, that's very, very interesting. I can't help but think they do have to pay inheritance tax, or they have to sell Buckingham Palace, and therefore they would need a really good estate agent. Although I'm on the fence about whether they should pay it or not, really. But that was very interesting. Thanks very much. I had a great one-time with Kieran last week. Which was his own? Which was great. We've been meaning to do for some time now. A few other people that I need to sit down with, so I will reach out. Thank you for the slot, and we'll see you guys next week. Thanks.
Excellent, 10 minutes as always. It's a very interesting subject on my situation, not in Ireland, I think. I have got a referral for Paul Kelly, that's the details,
Thank you.
and a thank you to the money for Mike. Take a pic.
Which one?
Thank you.
Thank you, Howard. I just wish you want to transfer money by post office savings looking for pension fund.
I can't answer that right now. I've had many discussions.
I had a one-to-one with Hannah, very interesting, and also I have a referral. Put two together, save your names, just to make a trip. Thank you.
Yeah, education Scott, very thought-provoking, and 10 minutes was really interesting and extremely relevant to me, and I guess to a little bit of the other person. And to Emma, I'm going to start by being on the way home and buy a carbon monoxide alarm.
15 quid, knock yourself out.
Perfect, thank you.
Yeah,
one of the other ones.
Thank you, Terry, for some assistance provided this week, and a little something for you. And I've got a referral for Aidan for internal for LSA for some employment law advice. Thank you, Aidan.
Great meeting, nice to be back again. I miss you all. 3 weeks, I think, I've been away. Great 10 minutes. Was it great 10 minutes? Great 10 minutes. I was going to stop first in that order. Very good education slot. Well done, Scott. Very accomplished delivery on what is a very complex subject. Complex for me. I have a referral for Scott. So glad you hand it over. Howard, thank you. It's the handsome place. Thank you. See you next week.
Very good meeting, everybody. yeah, we all know we should focus a bit more on it. It's just finding that sodding hour, isn't it? Really interesting 10 minutes. I've got another 2 questions already and probably another half of them by the time I get to the office this morning. Haven't got any one-to-ones this week, but I do know I need to get a couple in, and I'll give you a shout later. So, see you all next week.
Yeah, well done, Scott. It's not a lot of time, is it? Out for a month, an hour. Even doesn't have to be dead on an hour, but a few minutes a week just thinking about what you can do. So it's just worth reminding everybody. Excellent 10 minutes out. Like the format, and I've got some things that I think you can help me with through the company. So I'll come and have a chat with you. Very good. Nick, I'm working on a referral. I seen a lady on Friday. I mentioned it before. She had a builder who did a terrible job. Left the house not even half built, and we're going to have to knock it down and start again. I thought before she gets a new build, she might want to have a structural engineer look at what's there. I think she should. Be sensible, isn't it? Yeah, I'm glad you're Thank you. Put your feet out. Mike, I've got one for you for going to have a look at the video on the homepage.
Okay.
Just like what format it'll be, but when I'll come in.
Enjoy the studio. One-to-one story, but I'll have that.
Yeah, and it's in finance, B2B finance. Ex-member Mark Robinson still giving me work. Quite excellent. Still giving me work. It's good. Thank you, Mark. And I want to get together with Hannah on to one. That'd be good. Come see you or sort some out. And Melissa, she's not here.
Oh, Timmy, I've just as well. I paid debt about 12 grand, so I forgot to mention it. I'm going to try and get it to you.
You've got to put a referral in for your next door neighbour as well. He sent me a job. Swimming pool man. Is he your brother-in-law as well?
No.
Craig.
Oh, Craig.
Craig, him. Yeah.
Okay.
You need to put a referral in.
Okay.
Really good 10 minutes. Every time I hear people that are coming to some money, I always say I know someone that'll be able to help them save it.
Who's that?
Amy.
Really good. It's like, agree. Even if you do 15 minutes a day or even 10 minutes a day.
3 minutes a day. That's what we need. That's the hour or something.
Yeah, or even if you've got a bit of extra time, a bit more. I've got thank you for the money for Terry, but I'll hand it to Terry. And thank you for the money for Aidan. And I'll see you all next week.
Excellent meeting as always. Great Ed Scott. So we made lots of notes there actually. Fantastic 10 minutes hours, always really informative, and just think approach that. Yeah, how do you approach the subject of your parents dying with them? That's the only thing quite established. Anyway, got to thank you for the money to Terry. Thank you.
Respect the position, Terry. That's it.
And Sarah still as well, and then referral for James, my business insurance. I don't think he's actually already been told. Thank you.
I always thoroughly enjoy your excellent presentations, Howard. Yeah, thank you again. Really good. Nick, thank you for that piece of business done concluded. Ben. Utilities and telephones for my dear old man. We're hopefully going to save some money. Thank you. Very much.
EBF in action. Howard gave me a referral for somebody who's selling their business. I think it was about 15 years ago I made the referral with the East Club, so I was acting for in relation to their lease, so that they could get some financial advice. So I think what goes round comes round. Tina, thank you very much for dealing promptly with that type of work for me. Thank you. I have got 3 more referrals. One is for Emma. Can you get your man to do the garden, but at the end of the season, so that he doesn't have to come back again? So if timing's everything, but if you could get him to do that, that'd be great. Kieran and Paul Booth. Paul Booth, my son's accounts, and Kieran, if we could get together on what I'm looking to do with my house, that's fine. Thank you very much.
Great, that's a lot. Yeah, putting the activity in is really what's going to drive the EBF and the meetings forward and the members. So, yeah, putting that time aside. How brilliant, absolutely really, really good. might get my brother and sister-in-law to have a chat with you because they were talking about setting up a pension for my great niece there, which she's only 2, so good time to do it.
Yeah.
But no, brilliant. Toby might have a referral for you, but I'll work on that maybe for next week. A friend of mine's opened a new business that needs hand keeping on track. We've got to thank you for the money for John Hammond and a referral. I'll give you your details, James, to Paula Jones, who runs a hairdresser's near town. So talking about insurance and sort of the utilities out, insurance as well. So thank you very much. Great meeting. See you next week.
Yeah. I have a serious question. This is a serious question. If I was living in Victoria's reign, I'd be a Victorian. Edward, Edwardian, George, Georgian, Elizabeth, Elizabethan. What are we going to be called if we're in charge?
Caroline.
Charlie.
Chucky.
Carolian.
Caroline. Comes from the last name.
Carolian.
We'll continue to call you a Charlotte.
Never heard of it either, mate.
Charlotte. Which you never asked.
Thank you, Howard. That was a great speech thing that you did. You'll always be our queen. That's all I can say. Take that however you like. Jane, I mentioned to Jane last week that I really like marmalade, and she gave me a bit of pop. Bless you, bless you, bless you. And I just wanted to make sure that any of the people that weren't here last week, shame on you, did you all get your EBF pens?
Yes.
No. If you haven't, Scott's got the stash.
Paul's got the stash.
Paul's got the stash. I won't be here next week. I'll be cruising around the Norwegian fjords, looking for the elusive Norwegian blue. Beautiful plumage.
Hiding of the field.
That's right, yeah.
This is to show loyalty to you.
Thank you very much.
Well done, Scott. Very good education slots, and try harder as we always must. Howard, brilliant. Always found it really interesting. And while I've got you, thank you for the money for your brother's formula. While you're there, to Terry, I've done some pre-prep for the video. We'll discuss it.
Great meeting as always. Great Ed, Scott and Scott. I have tried to get some people here. It's either they've done networking groups before and some certain one, I know we don't name, they've been to that one before and they never want to do networking again. Or they just don't want to get up so early. So I am trying to get people in. Great 10 minutes. My parents have actually started talking to my sister and I about that, so it's really handy to hear a bit more about it. And I've put on my to-do list to start up my head. I haven't done that yet. I had a great one-to-one with Brian. And then I had a wonderful one-to-one with Jane, Leanne and Melissa. Trying and nearly. We should try and do that every month. I think that'd be a good thing. Yeah, I'll just pass it. Thank you. See you next week.
So, yes, Scott, good food for thought. 3 minutes a day. Why can't we each do that? And I love it when there's a drive subject of your part, but the topic that could be considered, oh God, I'm not going. And then you can make it so interesting and wanting us all to ask questions because you're setting us all thinking, which is fantastic.
It's more luck and judgment, to be fair.
Yeah, fair enough. Mine are one-to-one, so shall I just... Yeah. Thank you, everybody, and see you next week.
Yep, I've had one-to-ones as well with everybody. Hannah, Jane, and Melissa. Scott, I wasn't here last week. Just wanted to thank you for sorting out my email, making it look a lot more professional. Thanks for the end slot. And thanks for your informative.
Yeah, great. Scott really enjoyed that. And yeah, it's a really good presentation as well. There's some bits I'd quite catch up with you about that. So I'll drop you a message. I've got a referral from Mr. Barry, who's not here. I've got 3 from Mr. Cook over there. Great one with Emma. And I'm kind of catching up with the bits about them. And I've got to come back to you, Mike, for instance, and Paul, of course, and I'll catch up with you on. I'll send you all the emails eventually. So, yeah, great meeting. See you all. Thanks a lot.
Forgive me all, I've got a dash.
Bye, mate.
I was hoping to make it a discreet exit.
Fine. If Nick wins, he doesn't get it.
No.
Bye, Nick. Where is Nick Cook? It's not, it's Kieran.
Thank you very much indeed, Harold, for doing the running. Are we going to have a reality check?
If I get him out of the button, we'll find it quickly.
Last
week. It's the third, so let's have a look. Right, previous referrals. From Aidan to Jane. Jan.
Done.
You saw that one happen.
Yes.
From John Hammond to James. Shipping insurance.
We've spoken about it. He's in Belgium at the moment, so
Okay. From John Hammond to Stuart. Pets Corner Broadband.
Yeah, thank you very much for sending a bit more detail on that, right?
Okay, and the last one then, from Ben to Brian. Friend needs help to give up smoking. Details passed.
Yeah. All good hands.
Excellent. Works out nice, didn't it?
Works out, yeah. He's gone.
Yeah, it doesn't.
Right. End of the meeting draws tonight. Has anybody got any announcements to make? Jane, you go first.
Well, there's calls of your time for straight after the meeting because it's the second synergy meeting of the week. And so this is business to consumer, but we're not divisive. If you are B2B, you're very welcome as well. We'll probably have to meet out there because they'll be rejigging the tables. But if you can join us, love it. And then you get extra points as well. But I think we'll have to pay for our teas and coffees after the meeting.
Similar note, I've got a camera with us. If anyone hasn't had their photo taken for the EBF website, hang around for a few minutes and we can do it quickly. That's about it. Yeah, well, Scott will keep moaning at you.
Terry.
Yeah, I forgot to mention earlier the membership slot. I know a few you've asked me about and I'm a bit worried about Neil. He's not been a happy chap lately. I've had a chat with him. He's okay. He's not had a very good period of trading. He's lost money rather than make money. He's been, as you know, been working really hard over the summer. And like you all be pissed off about that. So he's not got a problem with any of us. He's just a bit down at the moment. He's going to stay away for a couple of weeks, clear his head, and he will be back refreshed and raring. I think as Jurgen Klopp, he's going to reinvent himself. But he's okay. So just get him off. It's fine.
Trying to become the best version of himself.
And he's not worried about the hour at all.
Right.
Don't give two hoots.
Happy to announce the karting go-karting is taking place in Basildon on Wednesday the 28th. We've got 9 people coming. Just 3 short of actually having the track to ourselves.
It's Tuesday the 27th. Apart from that, carry on.
Tuesday the 27th is.
Sorry, I didn't hear it.
It's Tuesday the 27th, not
Tuesday the
Wednesday.
27th, Brian.
Tuesday the 27th, right.
What time's that at?
6:50, whatever time that is.
An email will come round and
Yeah,
confirm.
well, 40 minutes early.
27th.
And just as an aside, I was in the dentist waiting room yesterday. The TV was on running what was happening in London. And the announcer said the Queen's coffin is going, and they spelt coffin C-O-U-G-H-I-N-G.
Heads will roll. Right.
One last bit of health and safety advice. A friend of mine's on security detail, the royal family at the moment. We're on a group chat, and one of them said, "Well, what if someone jumps up because they want a selfie?" He went, "Oh, it's so if someone makes a concerted effort, they're going to get past the rope, aren't they? But if they get past the rope, they are going to get shot. And we are not shooting to stop them moving. We are shooting to stop them breathing. So if you are going for the 10-hour wait,
none of this friendly shit.
So if you're going to wait for 10 hours to walk past everything, don't jump over the rope because that'll be another member.
Have you pushed somebody over the road?
They'll probably shoot both
But if you do it in 10 hours, done very well. Right. Well, for those of you who've got to get away to queue up on the embankment, I'll let you go early. It's a nice sunny day, despite the early start being dark. I hope we can replicate our numbers next week. And please chase up those visitors. Let's see if we can have several visitors next week and get our numbers up. Right, that's the end. See you later.